Well, we're in the dog days of summer, and you know what summer means here in Buffalo.
Hot.
Yes, hot, but also festivals and a whole lot of music and art and just a great time of year.
And that's what we're celebrating this month on commUNITY. I'm Claudine Ewing.
And I'm Pete Gallivan.
The Colored Musicians Club, historic in Buffalo, really historic in the entire nation. How you've known it is not the way it's going to be in the future.
Yeah, where it's a celebration of the past. Right now, we're going to celebrate its future.
What's going to be happening here eventually?
What we're doing is we're putting in access for folks who are in wheelchairs and handicapped and that sort of thing. And it's going to add about 2,000 square feet to the original building, which is being renovated to handle all the new programming and all of the, what do they call that stuff when they make movies? Podcasting or something.
podcasting, yeah.
Yes, we're going to be doing all sorts of things that go along with our normal mission, teaching, providing spaces to practice rooms and that sort of thing.
So this is the traditional space of the museum.
Right.
Prior to that, it was the home of Local 533 for years. And now with the help of the city and Empire State Development, we were investing $2 million for a complete renovation of the museum. All new exhibits.
New exhibits, but keeping the old bones.
Yes, absolutely. So we'll keep
tin
the
ceiling is
yes,
awesome.
and we just remediated the tin ceiling because it was lead-based.
Talk to us about why this is so needed. I know Mr. Williams talked about it, but I remember walking through here, the purple carpeting, the whole purple theme. Why was it needed to redo this whole thing and to have this addition?
Because I think it's important to refresh the exhibits. They're more interactive. So there are exhibits that help children and older learners understand how music is made in various genres, right? Understanding the history of jazz, the timeline, playing music. So it's much more interactive than what existed prior. So on this floor, you'll see the museum. But the museum, I think, will have a greater impact externally. So we'll have programs that exist in schools. We'll continue to go to senior centers and other places and engage with people where they are.
So now we're upstairs, and this is where the bar.
So there'll be some seating for 100 people, including bar. There'll be archived materials telling the story of the Colored Musicians Club in this neighborhood, all on the walls. So people will be able to read and really get into the spirit of the place, spirit of the organization. The performances will take place there, but they will be live streamed. So people who are unable to come will be able to experience what happens here.
And when is this going to be ready and open?
That's the $1 million question, but I'll stake my life on it. It's, I'm figuring November of this year.
Wow.
Right. So much of the hard work has been done. And this is an old building, so you have to do this work with care and patience, because you find things that you just didn't know that it exists. But I do think that by the end of the year, that we'll be ready to open.
The brand and organization has grown tremendously and in a great, authentic, and organic way over the last 8 years.
Whether it's the VIP reception, backyard barbecue, golf open.
Taking like that nostalgic feeling of the cookout, the barbecue that you're having with your family, right? Where you have, the cookout needs. You have the great food, you have the dominoes table, you have the spades table, you have the line dance, you have all of these elements from the barbecue and the cookout to really bring people together, have a great time. And then on Saturday, we're having our Buffalo Golf Open, which we're bringing the culture to the golf course. As the game of golf is expanding in diversity, we want to continuously be that bridge from the culture, from the novice golfer to the experienced golfer, to diverse backgrounds, from women to communities of color, to really engage in the game of golf.
Buffalo is all about celebrating arts, music, and culture.
Buffalo is a very diverse city. At the same time, we have a lot of segregation in between lines, but arts and culture can be that bridge where communities can come together and really bond, connect, network. So we are that bridge for that.
Buffalo is a community-engaged brand organization. August is when they host the big signature event. This year, it's August 22nd through the 25th.
When you walk in, you'll experience at Vendors Village.
Interactive events with new era caps.
Infinity Song is our featured headliner this year. They're from New York City. They actually signed to Jay-Z's Rock Nation. They actually just cut off of a world tour. They're a growing band. Say Blue, who's from Toronto, Canada. We have Cameron Corvée, who's coming from Atlanta, Georgia. We have Elsie, who's coming from Mississippi. And then we have a number of array of acts right here in Buffalo, New York, from Tiny the Dream, 14 Mafia, to Tony Boy, to many others. The Miserable Genius, Nefertali.
It's family friendly, and throughout the year, they host free events.
We currently have 4 summer arts, community arts sites that we're hosting program out of, from filmmaking and creative content, to creative arts, to poetry. You name it, we're doing it. We're going into theater this coming fall.
So wondering about the name? It was intentional to spark conversation.
But Buffalo has its origin within the naming of Buffalo, and that's how we get here to meaning beautiful flowing river, and it's always a conversation piece.
And you are such a believer.
Yeah.
Why? Why do you believe in this?
I believe in it because I see the direct impact, right? We have young people who were interns of ours who are now board members. We're seeing communities come together. We're seeing collaborations happening that start right here at our events. We're investing into small businesses right here in the area, from ideation stage to piloting. We're investing into artists who don't necessarily have those platforms, those resources.
Buffalo.
Always be my baby, and that what I would say over the next 10 years, my role, hopefully, would be to grow that throughout the world and have the imprint throughout the world. But I really want to see the next generation carry what they've been impacted or influenced by through Buffalo.
And as long as we're talking about Music Fest, you had quite the time, huh?
You're giving me that look. Hello, Robin Thicke. Yes, he performed at a local festival on Bailey Avenue, and it was great. This is the 10th annual University United Festival in Buffalo. It was a showstopper as thousands filled the UB field on Bailey Avenue to watch Silk.
What's up, everybody?
When you look at the city of Buffalo and you look at the east side, we didn't really have as many events. So 10 years ago, a group of block club leaders, local council members sat together and said, let's bring a festival here, but let's do it right. Let's bring some big acts. And I'm grateful that the sponsors and all different elected officials pitched in to make this reality.
Music Soul Child.
We can bring so many awesome talents here. Sometimes we just have to do the legwork to get them here.
Hey, maybe I can call you up. Hey, maybe I can take you out. So let's exchange this. They look crazy.
And the headliner, Robin Thicke. I had a chance to chat with him briefly after the show. What it meant to come to a city that has gone through so much pain and tragedy, and yet you're bringing them hope.
Well, that's what music is all about. It brings us together, and my music, especially, it's gotten me through the toughest times in my life. And so it's nice to be able to sing some of those songs out here tonight and help unite everybody and lift our spirits. And it's all about hope and love and the community coming together.
But you got to believe it, baby. Everything's gonna be. I said you got to believe it. Everything's gonna be. Everything's gonna be. It's gonna be all right.
Bringing Robin Thicke, I knew in my heart it was going to bring a lot of people here, and I was right. I love being able to see different generations of individuals coming together, really for being united and loving on each other. The festival is called University United Festival. Unite is the main point.
Coming up next on Community, we are marking 4 decades since we were in the Hollywood spotlight.
And we are going inside of the new Buffalo Bills Stadium.
40 years ago, Hollywood came to the Queen City.
So a couple guys from New York came in. I gave them the tour of the stadium. They loved it.
Director Barry Levinson had been searching for a spot to film his new baseball movie, and let's just say Buffalo was a natural. And for these three baseball enthusiasts, it was a chance to get front row seats to it all. Current Bison's broadcaster Duke McGuire was just a young Bison staffer then, and Williamsville South Athletic Director Kevin Lester had scouted a bit for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Duke asked me to get a hold of a bunch of players, and they were going to have a tryout and everything, and that's how the whole thing got started.
Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame exhibit chairman John Boutte was a ball player for Canisius College back then.
They used us for like shagging balls and setting up pictures and all kind of things and stuff like that. So
now, they knew it was a baseball movie, but had no idea the stars that would be coming to town. Robert Redford, Robert Duvall, Wilford Brimley, Kim Basinger, and Glenn Close.
Had no idea. And Glenn Close was like a little sister to everybody. She took batting practice, she took fielding practice. It was outstanding. Everybody on the movie was fantastic.
In addition to taking on roles as extras, Kevin's number 20 in this scene, and that's Duke right there next to Mr. Brimley, they also helped out with transforming the old rock pile into the home of the fictional New York Knights.
Fence signs in the outfield, they ought to be redone to period pieces.
they had to recreate a 1930s Major League Baseball wooden manual scoreboard.
War Memorial Stadium, the train station in South Dayton, the Central Terminal, Ellicott Square Building, all High Stadium and Parkside Candies. All backdrops for the film. And now another bit of Western New York played a big part as well. That was Roy Hobbs' bat, Wonder Boy. Robert Redford liked the feel of the bats that Kevin Lester used, so the prop master gave Kevin a special task.
So I took him, I went to the high school, Williamsville South High School, where I was the athletic director, and I put him on a lathe, and I spent the whole day with sandpaper just sanding him down as the bat spun on the lathe.
That's right. Wonder Boy, the famous bat from the movie, was actually crafted in the Williamsville South wood shop. Some of the other movie magic they witnessed, well, the fire department stringing hoses overhead to make it rain, this makeshift cannon to help Roy Hobbs rip the cover off the ball, and then there were the pyrotechnics packed into the lights by Buffalo's bravest.
They had the explosions all up set up there ready to explode when the ball was shot up there. So they used them to do a lot of things like that movie magic. You don't know how it's done. Well, they used the Buffalo Fire Department to do that.
Oh my God, are you serious?
And the movie still resonates with audiences in Western New York and beyond. In fact, as we were shooting the interviews, the Westlake family of Tampa, Florida, just happened to show up. They were on a family vacation to the Adirondacks and decided to stop in Buffalo to tour the sites where the movie was filmed, a movie that Joseph fell in love with when he was just 7 years old.
Specifically for Buffalo, the only reason we came here was to do this tour.
40 years, man, it just seems like it's flown by.
And for Bob Rich III, the movie was a bit of a family affair. His father had just bought the Bisons and helped roll out the red carpet for the film crew and its stars. He even helped Bob prepare after landing a bit part as Roy Hobbs' son, Ted. Just one scene, no lines.
He had been teaching me to catch the ball for the final scene by using a bat, a fungo bat, and hitting the ball to me. So I was 0 for 3 when they were throwing it. My dad got up there, threw the ball, hit the ball to me. I went 8 for 8 in those catches.
But the emotional closing scene of the movie that brought tears to so many eyes.
I get chills. I really do. Every time that movie comes on, there's probably 5 or 6 scenes where I get chills.
And if you look hard enough, you can still see reminders of the film all around town 4 decades later.
It's definitely been a dream of mine, since I was little. You write it on your thing in kindergarten, like what you want to be when you grow up. You want to be a baseball player.
A dream that came true for Jackson Strong, who's Buffalo born and raised.
Strong, swing and a drive.
From West Seneca East High School to Canisius University, his baseball journey continues now with the Detroit Tigers organization after being picked in the 7th round of this year's draft.
Kind of a full circle moment once it actually did happen. It was kind of like, surreal at first, but once I kind of got my head around it, I was like, wow, this is really happening.
Strong is turning pro on the back of a standout career at Canisius, a 2-time all-conference selection, tied for the school record for career stolen bases, and now the 2nd highest draft pick in program history.
It's one thing to hear your name get called, but it's one thing to actually put that pen to paper and, knowing that it's actually going to be your career for, however long. So I'm excited to get down there and, truly soak it all in and, just be a part of it.
One source of inspiration for Strong on this journey has been his mom, Kelly. A local elementary school teacher, she recently overcame a battle with cancer, making the moment he shared with her on draft night that much more special.
Everything she went through in the fall, that was, the toughest thing I've had to go through from a, bystander point of view. And, she wasn't able to come to as many games as she wanted to because, she's in that, doing treatment all the time. But it was just good to know that, like she's behind me and doing stuff for her was, one of the biggest reasons that I had success this year.
Now cancer-free, Jackson hopes his mom is able to come down to Florida to catch some instructional league games as he gets his career going. A career he hopes makes those back in Western New York proud of him.
This area is, not a hotbed for baseball, as they say, but, it's good to kind of put on the map, Western New York baseball is not to be messed with. And, just, couldn't be more thankful for all the coaches and teammates that have got me through, to this point.
Jackson Strong, the next hometown kid, embarking on his journey to the majors.
From the diamond
to a diamond in the rough,
Rob Hackford takes us inside of the new Buffalo Bills Stadium under construction.
Where are we heading up again in terms of?
We're heading to the 300 level concourse.
Two on-your-side cameras were the first to see the uppermost concourse of the new Bills Stadium. The freshly poured concrete marking a turning point for construction.
Seating, you'll see as soon as we get out here.
Where everything above it will be higher than Highmark Stadium. Frank Cravata is Senior Vice President of New Stadium Design.
Very few people will be able to get up here prior to 2026, so.
Off to his right, the first steel for 300-level seating is going in. Eventually, Cravata said staircases from the concourse will lead fans to the top row and where the canopy will be constructed. Each level of the new stadium, he said, giving fans a different experience.
Down on the 100 level, you'll feel, it'll sound, you'll feel the players warming up, there'll be more energy. Up here, it's just the huge expanse of the structure. It's more of the awe.
Especially with a view like this, from one of the party decks in the 300-level concourse.
Until you get up there the first time, you know it, but you can feel it. Yeah. As you can see, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's one of several spaces designed for Bills Mafia not to be tethered to their seat. Both the lower and upper concourses will wrap around the stadium, making it easy to get from one bar at one end to the other. With plenty of reminders, you're in Bills country.
One of Terry's edicts was, if you drop me anywhere in that stadium, I want to know I'm in Buffalo.
John Polka is Vice President of Stadium Development.
Go grab a drink, hang out for a little bit. In the wintertime, those are the areas where we've concentrated the radiant heat.
Polka and Cravata explain that instead of having concessions and bathrooms along the inside of the stadium like Highmark is set up,
we've moved all of that to the perimeter,
gotcha.
Right?
So you don't have the barriers.
So you don't have the barrier,
okay.
And it helps block the wind when we do that. So we're moving all of that out to the outside of the building.
Which will keep the field in view like here along the lower concourse, where precast risers start to make this construction site feel more like a stadium.
The next step in these areas really is going to be the seats in a year or so. I think when people come inside, their proximity to the field, whether they're walking around the stadium or they're in their seats, is really going to be what they take away.
Heading down to the field, the stadium rises up around you, steeper and more intimidating by design, Polka said. Eventually, 2 layers will be stacked on top of the bedrock to reach the height of the playing surface.
Shorter than that, we probably only have a foot to 12 inches that will come up from here.
Steel and precast concrete risers and stairs will continue to go in through this summer and into the start of football season. There are about 500 professionals on site daily, Polka said. But once the canopy starts going up this fall,
the crew sizes are going to continue to ramp up to about 1,200 by next spring. So things are really going to continue to ramp up from now throughout the season and into the spring and summer of next year.
It's work these Buffalonians and their team don't take lightly, appreciating these moments and what they're building for the entire Bills fan base.
The days are so busy and the weeks are so short, and then you finally come out here and you're like, man, this is pretty cool.
A new home built for and by members of Bills Mafia, who are eager for the first family gathering in 2026.
Coming up next on commUNITY, we're going to sit down with a silver medalist.
And the Queen City Jazz Fest. We hope you enjoyed the Olympics as much as we did right here on Channel 2. And there was an Olympian from Western New York who did really well.
Yeah, silver medal with the team sport. Anita Alvarez of Tonawanda. Well, I had a chance to catch up with Anita before the games when she brought her whole team here to Western New York. As they say, there's no place like home.
I just have so many memories and connections, even like little things like the smell or like the colors of like the pillars or the floor.
But this time was a little more special for Anita Alvarez. While she's about to become the first U.S. artistic swimmer to compete in 3 Olympics, this will be the first time since 2008 the entire U.S. team has qualified for the Games. So on this visit to Tonawanda's Aquatic Center, she had her whole team in tow.
It's always special to come back, but even more so with my team and on our way to a competition and just gearing up for Paris. So.
How does it make you feel to see Anita come home, and not only come home, but bring her entire team?
I think it's, for her, it's special just because this is her ultimate goal. She's always wanted to help the team qualify for the Olympics, and then we get to share it, not with just another duet partner, but now we get to share with the whole team.
Yeah, it's going to be completely different this time. You know, qualifying in the team event for the first time for the U.S. since 2008.
It's been a rough road for Team USA, but it's also been a series of hurdles for Anita herself.
Making it to my first Olympics, and then, you know, after that, having a difficult time wondering if I was going to continue on, and then, you know, making it to the second Olympics, COVID, everything that happened there. And then, you know, after 2022, when I had my fainting accident at World Champs, again, not knowing if I would kind of continue on in the sport or not. So I feel like I've had a lot of different roadblocks over the years that have kind of like challenged me on, you know, how bad do you want it almost.
Time and time again, she overcame those challenges and proved to herself exactly how much she does want to compete. And this time around, even though it will be Anita's 3rd Games, it's going to be a new experience for both Anita and her parents. For the first time, Karen and Dave Alvarez will be able to share the excitement with an entire team of other proud parents.
Oh, it's going to be completely different. You know, in Rio, it was just us and another couple, but and then Tokyo, obviously, we couldn't go. So it's going to be super special this year with a whole group of people.
And for Anita, each experience has also been quite different.
You know, the first Games, I was 19, I was young. I didn't expect to be going already at that game, so it was just like eye-opening experience. Like everything was brand new, everything was exciting. I was just happy to be there. Second Games was a little more challenging just because everything with COVID made it a little weird. We were pushed back a year. We just missed on qualifying the team. There were no fans in the stands. Like everything was just kind of weird. It was kind of like try and enjoy it, but also just like try and survive and, you know, get through it. And now this Games is going to be, you know, this is like enjoy it, but taking each moment and trying to really appreciate, you know, the experience that I'm getting with the team, because I never know if this is going to be my last one, if it's not.
Well, that is a different question for a different day. Well, another packed month here on commUNITY, but you know what? I'm in the mood for a little more music.
So that's how we're going to end our show, with the sounds from the 20th annual Queen City Jazz Festival. Thanks for joining us on commUNITY. We'll see you next month. But for now, enjoy the music.
Joining Miss Thurman on this stage today, we've got the Daryl Green Quartet.
Well, the Queen City Jazz Fest is actually a way of honoring the old original Colored Musicians Club and the local 533 musicians that helped to form it.
Queen City Jazz Festival is so thoroughly rooted in Buffalo's culture, Buffalo's heritage, especially with the African American culture, and it's now expanding to international waters, and it's beautiful. We got all these different acts here.